Oh shit, here we are again in old Greg's vagina. This Knoll, Knoll Fielding's vagina. Yeah, see this little knoll here? It's like moist and wet up in here. It's like, it's like a vagina. Look at it. See, it's got this little embankment that gets higher and higher as it goes around there. And then it comes back over here. It's like old Greg spreading their legs. Their mangina, they're spreading their legs and they want some seed up in here. They want some seed up in their piggy bank. Yeah, so it's like outside of here, there's not many trees. Outside of old Greg's vagina, there's not many trees out there. So many thinks that, this sexy as fuck mangina, this taco, many doesn't know what to call it. It's like, this is like the perfect spot to come up in here and get some, extract some seeds out of these vaginas, these pine cone vaginas laying on the ground. Take some seed out of their vaginas and plant them and have some more boy-girl trees up in here. But that's not all. No, there's this poor little squirrel that lives up in here. And they're poor. And they're really scrawny, and their tail is not very... Their tail isn't very fluffy. So Minnie sees this big fat squirrel down by the rivers. Yeah, and they take us up this path. And we see these nuts. Yeah, we see these nuts laying there, and we promised that squirrel. We said, hey, squirrel, it's like if Mooney goes somewhere and we find some nuts, we'll bring them up here. And we'll bring you some nuts to eat, and we'll plant these trees so that you guys can have some nuts up here. And look at this one. Look, it's starting to grow. Yeah, Minnie's, they won't let us recycle. They want to play games with us with recycling. So Minnie takes her used water jugs and turns them into these little planters. You ever turned them into planters? Like a monocled peanut planters. Yeah, so we got these little boy-girl trees growing here. Or actually, these are nut trees. We don't know if these are boy-girl. These are boy-girl trees. These are boy-girl trees, but we don't know what these are. Are these boy-girls too? He doesn't know. But these are nuts for the squirrels. Elmer Fudd. Elmer Fudd likes to come up here with firearms that they say that they're allowed to have, but we're not. See, we build these little stick forts around the trees, the baby trees, when we find them. So, when the campers don't come in here and they run over the little baby trees. See, we've got little kitty cat food jars. Because they won't let us recycle, so yeah, we use those. I'm going to start got the little nursery up inside old Greg's mangina. We got a funky ball. We got the funky ball of tips from outer space too. It's like a meteorite we found in Soylent Greenfield. Yeah, it's a meteorite, and it's a funky ball of tips from outer space. So there's this rock over here. See that rock over there? It's like Mooney says, if all you Elmer Fudds don't quit, come up. If you don't quit coming up in here scaring us with your guns that you say you're allowed to have, but we're not, and trying to say this is your public-private property, while Nancy Mace says we're not allowed to take a shit in her whatever the fuck that is. Yeah, Mooney thinks Nancy Mace is secretly a man, or secretly identifies as a penis, and that's why they have all these privacy laws that protect them. Yeah, that's why they don't want trans people in their toilets. who won't keep secrets because we're trans because of their abuse of paper and other instruments. That's why we're trans. Yeah, that's why Mooney goes from being a 500-pound fat man with one foot in the grave to being a sexy goth. Yeah, that's one reason why we do that, because relationships are denied with lies on a piece of paper. And so we say, see that rock over there? It's like, we're going to let all the Facebook sub-zombies vote. Yeah, because they use Facebook your subjugation to that platform and others. Advertisers, yeah, they pay money. Big corporate churches and big corporations pay Mark Zuckerberg money to influence they who are voluntarily surrendered to their platform through their subscription. And while their electronic device interfaces with their electrochemical biology and their brainwaves, they pays them to influence things like voting or, discrimination in employment, labor, housing, and things like that. And they pay them to discriminate and deny those things of people they want to get rid of. It's easiest. They want to get rid of us to deny their abuse. Throwing condoms on a playground when we're 3 and experimenting on us ever since we're 3 years old by entangling us in this energy and making us queer. Yeah, Mooney's different because we had a little public drink out of a condom when we're 3. Mooney thinks it's a balloon. We didn't know it was a condom. We don't know what condoms are. But essentially, it is a receptacle which holds an energy of a type. And instead of some, like in the South, where they have a family tradition of sticking a penis in a baby's mouth and forcing it on them. No, instead of doing that, they threw it on a playground, and they said, well, we'll just make it random. Whoever picks it up, whether they got a penis or vagina or whatever, it doesn't matter. That way they'll have this queer eye for the so-called straight guy. While the straight guy says, no, Jabeth hates you, and you're not allowed to be queer. You're supposed to denounce that. You're supposed to deny it. Say that never happened. While we all keep secrets and fuck each other, stab each other in the back, while we all wave the American flag and say, we're united. It's liberty and justice for all. So here's this rock. And if Elmer Fudd wants to keep coming up in here and shooting off guns to scare us, to feed off of our fear and our anxiety, while they say that, their government and their God protects them and says they're allowed to have firearms, but we're not. Yeah, well, we wouldn't be out in this public place if it wasn't for discrimination. We wouldn't be out here. Like on an all the time, in public, all the time. Without any respite, without any refuge to go to a so-called private residence where we would be safe to rest. Yeah, they can hey, if Elmer Fudd wants to leave a Galil, you know what a Galil is, kids? Yeah, you'll know what that is if you play Nazi Zombies. If you play Call of Duty Nazi Zombies, it's a Galil. It's a machine gun. Just leave a Galil there. Leave a Galil there with 666 rounds of ammunition, 6 high-capacity magazines, armor-piercing rounds, a sexy nylon strap vest. Yeah, sexy nylon strapped vest that, buckles around your waist with, little hooks on it so you can hang your full magazines on it. And then take a branding iron with letters on it and then burn into the plastic case, the target of your choice. Just melt it in there like a branding iron. Yeah, and then tranny, since everybody denies their abuse and discrimination, while employees, laborers at these offices are also being paid and influenced to deny our complaints to their offices through their, they're also sub to Mark Zuckerberg and other platforms, get rewarded for denying, their job. To get rewarded to not do their job. You get paid for that. And so just leave a Galil over there. Leave a sexy Galil. And the flesh legally known as Amy Nicole Corrigan of Soylent Greenfield 45123 will be extremely fucking jealous that Mooney has a Galil and they don't. While they also deny relationships with lies on a piece of paper to disarm us. Yes, as they stalk us, as the Donkey Congress empowers and supports them to stalk us all the way from Florida to Ohio to accuse us of stalking. Because the Mormons and some other corporate bodies didn't want us to have a firearm, because what we didn't know, but they did, was that they'd been raping us ever since we were 3 years old. And they can't get rid of that guilt. So instead, they control their victims by denying them due process, taking away their rights and property, making it impossible for us to establish a residency after we're terrorized from our home with acts of domestic terrorism sponsored and supported by this donkey Congress. Yeah, how we can't even use the toilet without being threatened. So instead, Mooney comes out here and plants trees with the idea that, all these zombies, subscribers, aren't doing that. They're not doing that. Instead, they're murdering these trees. They're murdering them so they can have some paper to wipe their ass on and tell some lies. So Mooney figures that if we plant some trees versus what they're doing, the quantum effects of that should empower us to be able to reach out through the air like Darth Vader and fucking choke them all to death. Yeah, through the trees, you see, because how can you breathe without those? How can you breathe? Well, you can't breathe without those. And so the trees know that if you're murdering them to wipe your ass or tell some lies on a piece of paper, you shouldn't be able to breathe. If you deny these transactions that go on, these energetic exchanges that causes carbon dioxide and other gases to transition into oxygen so you can breathe, and then you shouldn't be able to breathe. You should drop fucking dead. Drop down dead, full dead, like, and then we can come up and you can pick up your gear. Like DayZ. The game. Yeah, the game. It's a pretty cool. Minnie's never played it, but we watch people on YouTube play it. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, DayZ. D-A-Y, capital Z. Day Zombie. DayZ. Yeah. And see, what you do is you kill them. You kill them full dead. They're full dead. And then you pick up their gear. Oh, they're fully geared. Look at them. They're fully geared. Look at them over there. They're fully geared. I think we got to get them. Yeah. But one last joke before we go. See, Mooney makes this. We've shared this already in another video, but Mooney puts a little acorn hat. He puts a little nut hat on top of this little this porous rock. That we carved. If there's this rock laying here, so we carved a little thing into it and makes a little feeder. It makes a little heart. And, when Mooney's going to poop church over there in her bucket, what happens if Mooney's sucking on a big stogie? And we get scared because Elmer Fudd wants to shoot off their guns. They say they're allowed to have, but we're not. And we drop the cigar. It could happen. We'd set old Greg's vagina on fire. We wouldn't want to, but accidents happen, and I don't want to set the world on fire, but I just want to start a flame in your mangina.